Hello all and welcome into WHF Round 8. You're joined by me, your host this evening, WHF Faro. As we head to Suzuka in Japan for the 8th round of our season here in Japan. We follow Stephen Beecham, the current championship leader here. Will be the first driver to start a lap here and will go on board with the Ferrari on his first run round. Stephen, last time out, finished P2 yet again in this season. Our championship leader still yet to get a win on the board, and I'm sure Stephen getting slightly sick of the win that eludes him, but still leads the championship nonetheless. Welcome into the stream, Orange Banana. How's things going as Stephen flies through the first sector on board with the Ferrari? And what can Stephen do? Can this finally be the race where it all happens for Stephen? Everything goes his way. I'm doing well, Orange Banana. Just had a pizza for for dinner. Saturday chippy night, so a bit bloated. But anyway, we do have Stephen out in a flyer. He'll be the first driver to set a time on the board here, the 99 Ferrari car. Currently 4 points ahead of his championship rival, Ty. But important to note, TJ, who won last time out, who's just 2 points behind Stephen, jumped up to P2 in the championship. But TJ unfortunately having to serve a quali ban this time out, so that may limit his potential to close to Stephen and Ty in the championship battle here. Stephen does go quickest there. Will fall down to Ty. See where Ty goes as he crosses the line. It's a 29.9. Sample with a 28.5. Luxury returning to WHF/SSR. Luxury, one of the OGs from SSR. Former runner-up in Tier 2 in SSR. And in Tier 1 as well. In the early days of WHF. But Luxury finally returns along with SNZ UAE as Lime goes quickest with a 28.0 as A54 aka Ayub has disconnected from the session. I'm trying to get Ayub back in again. But Luxury with a 28.6. Good lap time from Luxury on his return here as Ollie Bean with a 29.2. Who else is out on a flyer there? Gunners set a lap time on the board, but not very fast one. Thank you for the subscription. Kevin Cal, unfortunately I didn't see your message because I forgot to add the sound alerts. I always forget until I see something like a sound alert supposed to be playing and then I was like, oh, I forgot it. What I will have to do though is before the start of the race, I'm absolutely muting them so that Zampa doesn't do what he did last week. I can focus on the race. But either way, Raheem now on a lap. Newcomer this season, Raheem slowly improving. And up to P8 goes Raheem, just 0.3 off Ollie Bean. And Raheem could be one to watch. Scones recently got a new wheel and we've seen his performance improve from it as well. But can we see Scones put a good lap time on the board here? His teammate Lime with a 28.0. Currently quickest out there, and Lime has 2 wins this season. The season hasn't gone ideally for Lime, but still has an outside chance at the title if he can put some good performances together towards the end of the season. There still is a good couple of rounds for Lime to catch his way back up again, and Scones crosses the line and up to P7 with a 29.0 over a second off his, or just under a second actually, off his teammate. As Dubsy Invalid won't get that lap time on the board. Important to note, for those of you who are new here, we've actually got a family of 4 in the lobby. That's LTJ, Ellis, Paige, Northy, and Ollie Bean. Are all family members, I believe. So great to see family. This is probably the biggest family we've ever had in SSR or WHF. Next biggest, I'd say, is Nudomatic, Naka Kraka, and Tantrum Turnip. The trio of 3 brothers is Andrew with a P10 performance with a 29.7. But 4 members. Thank you for the follow, Sniff God. Love the name. Thoughts on Gunner? Well, we would like to see Gunner with a better lap time on the board, but currently I had an unlucky season, I have to say, as Ledgeman, just ahead of Ollie Bean, with a very good lap time there, a 29.1, as will follow Paige, although Paige unfortunately invalid, will have to go again. SNZUAE showed some great pace last season, and has only returned now for round 8. Possibly only got the game this late on, but SNZ, a quick driver from last season. Does he have pace on this game? We'll soon find out. Luxury seems to still have some pace in hand from what he's previously shown. Although I do believe Scones has just started a lap. Ellis on an in lap, I believe. Anyone else actually on a flyer? I do believe Zampa. It could be one of the favourites for pole here. Can Zampa get a decent lap here in the Williams as the Haas is completely in his way? That may have been Ledgeman or Northy. I believe it was Northy who blocked Zampa there, but either way, Zampa somehow still survived, despite the Haas of Northy being right on the racing line. A big distraction for the Williams there. But as he rounds the spoon curve, can we see an improvement from Zampa on this lap? As we are about to start the shortest final sector on the calendar. As Zampa is a 10th to the good, can challenge Stephen Beecham here, but ideally would have been liking to be challenging for pole if he could have. Welcome in, Lanky, hope you're doing well, as we do have Zampa coming up to the line now. Zampa does improve by a 10th, just shy of Stephen Beecham. Maybe a little bit frustrated by that lap blockage. We've also got Lime on a lap here, chucking it round the first sector, currently quickest with a 28.0. And mentioned to me before the race that he's recently joined the RAF. As he has some traffic to deal with as well. A V-carb in his way, diving out of the way. And has a Mercedes ahead, does Lime, but can Lime improve on this run? We will see. As there is a bit of traffic there, as Stephen was navigating the first sector there, but we'll come back down to Stephen after we finish Lime's lap, as there's a yellow flag out, just some drivers getting out of the way of others. But Lime 2/10 to the good already on a qualifying position where he is 3/10 quicker than Stephen Beecham. Can Lime get 2/10 and pull it out of the bag to extend his provisional pole margin? And he does, but he lost a lot of time in that final corner. But Lime does improve by 700ths. But Luxury on his comeback drive to Tier 2. It's a 27.9 for Luxury. What a lap time Luxury's pulled out of the bag. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham now rounding the final corner. Where can Stephen go? Up to the line. Stephen improves by 2/10, and it is a 28.1 for Stephen. Yes, Zampa, we did have it on stream. So you can get the clip after the race. Meanwhile, Ty, currently P3 in the championship. Where can Ty go? It was Northy Zampa, if you're listening. Welcome in, Andrew. Andrew currently has recently claimed a seat in the Red Bull. Currently sitting P14. Meanwhile, Taya don't believe improved by a lot. We do have Daddy, Gunner. I'm not gonna call him his actual name because that's a bit... but Gunner did improve to P8, just shy of Scone's time. But who's this V-Carb we have on a run now? Sci-Fi Mega Hype, although he is a second down on his time, so won't be improving. But it just seems like there's no one really on a push lap at the moment here. But Luxury, coming back from having not joined us at all in WHF so far this season. Luxury currently on provisional pole. What a comeback it could be if Luxury could get pole here on his comeback drive. But let us see anyone else on a flyer there. Sci-Fi Mega just started a lap here in the V-Carb. And he'll fly through the Degnas. And as he exits them, heads up to the hairpin of turn 10. Was that turn 11? I think it's turn 11. It was very wide, but sometimes you can get away with a wider line through the hairpin here in Japan. But as the South African now will fly through Spoon Curve, trying to rotate the car, and now charging out of Sector 2 and up to... I'm also going to double check. I don't know if A54 got back into the lobby again. He's not online. I'll try and see if he gets back online again. But we'll try and see if Abe can join back in again. Sci-Fi backs out of the lap, doesn't believe he was going to improve there. As Ledgeman also coming in. But let me double check that. I wonder is... A54, aka Abe, if you're listening, you're not appearing online, so you may need to, I have sent you an invite already, but you may need to reconnect. Hopefully A54 can get back in and get a lap, but it might be a bit too late, unfortunately, disconnecting earlier. But not a lot we can do if the connection is just struggling. But Andrew has recently been added to Red Bull, as SNZ says he's having a wheel problem. But Andrew now had a couple decent performances this season already. And as he's joined Red Bull, can we see a performance that really cements him in that seat? As he flies through 130R, this may be Andrew's final attempt. Might not have enough fuel in order to go again. And Andrew now, as he rounds the final corner now, it's a charge to the line. And the Red Bull now, where can he go? Red Bull up to the line, and it's up to P12. For Andrew. Meanwhile, we've got Lime on a flyer through Sector 1. Although we'll keep an eye on Lanky starting a lap, or a Haim coming up to the line. Doesn't improve, maybe going for an extra out lap. But Lime now a 10th to the good, challenging Luxury. And I don't know if Luxury, when he came back, was thinking that pole was on the cards, but Lime now charging to try and catch Luxury. And this season has had a multitude of winners, including Lime with 2, but Lime currently sitting at around P5 in the championship, despite having 2 wins this season. So at any moment, Lime can pull out of the bag. He's just been missing it, and now he's 800ths down, so he's going to need an absolutely lightning final corner If he wants to improve here, he needs a 10th. And he gets a very good run through the final corner and up to the line. Can Lime snatch pole away from Luxury? Crosses the line. It is a 27.8. And Lime has intentionally crashed on track, which I don't know if he knows that is a quality ban, so that's very silly. But anyway. Ty on a lap. Anyone else on a flyer here that's close to the line? I'm not quite sure. Northy appears to be coming up to the line. I'll double check that Ayub can get into the lobby here. Because if at least Ayub can get in so that we can get him in for the race, that would be nice. And Northy crosses the line, improves, and gets ahead of Sci-Fi Mega Hype. Who's next across line? SNZ doesn't improve. May have enough fuel to go again. We will see. Ollie being not quite sure if he improved there or not. Scones starting a lap maybe, or maybe finishing a lap. Tie clear. 3/10 the good. Where can the Ferrari go? Just ahead of his teammate there as the checkered flag falls. Also got Luxury on a flyer. Steven on a flyer. Zampa improving here as well. Out of Sector 1. Still a lot can happen here. Lime is holding pole position, but still could lose it to a multitude of drivers here. As who's close to completing a lap, we will see. Page might be next in the Williams. Currently reserving for D. Somers today. And where can Page go? Currently a 10th ahead of Northy. And can Page get any more positions here as she rounds the final corner? And Page up to the line. And no improvement for Page. We've also got, who's that up to the line? Zampa did improve there to P3. Mega lap there from Zampa. Just shy of Luxury's time. Meanwhile, Gunner Invalid won't be improving. We've also got Stephen Beecham coming up to the final corner there. As Luxury goes quickest with a 27.6. Major lap there from Luxury. Puts it on pole for the reserving V-Carb today. As Ollie Bean up to P9 there. We've also got Ledgeman Invalid. Northy already completed his run on his last attempt, as Ty has done the same thing. So Luxury will start the race from pole ahead of Lime. Next it is Zampa, followed by Ty, Steven, Crimson, and Scones. As Lanky in the chat says, I just cannot drive this track. Which, unfortunately, Lanky struggling down in P11, but normally in the race can be a lot stronger. We'll have to see. But still trying to get AU back in. And I think he's having trouble with his Xbox or his connection. Either way, struggling to get back into the lobby. But there you have it. Luxury, the number 9 V-Carb, on pole here with a 27.6. And I don't know if Luxury was expecting that on his return, but a 10th ahead of Lime. Next it's Zampa, Ty, Steven, Crimson, Scones, Gunner, Ollie Ellis, Lanky, Dubsy, Andrew, SNZ, Raheem, Page, Northy, Sci-Fi, TJ, and A54. And hopefully A54 can get back into the lobby. We will see. And as we wait, hopefully it might give us the opportunity to invite A54 back to the lobby again. And hopefully he can get back in again just to do some racing, because at this point it's just frustrating seeing him not in the lobby. But get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think's going to win this one? It is a very intense fight. And currently, no one inside the top 4 in the championship is anywhere close to pole. The closest to pole is actually Ty in P4, I believe. Hilariously enough, Zampa, Lime, and Luxury all inside the top 3. But we will soon have the 5 red lights on in around 2 minutes or so. You've got an opportunity for yourself to grab a drink and put your feet up to get ready. As Rio in the chat says, do I put a curse on Ty Clear again? Rio says scones P1, P2 and P3. I don't know if that's possible. But either way, looking forward to seeing it. Hopefully, we just can have a clean race where there's not a lot of carnage, but in Japan, especially at turn 1, on lap 1, will we see that? It is, that's to be determined, must say. But I would not write out Scones at all, Rio. There is probably 2 races this season, Rio, that Scones genuinely could have won. So, it's definitely possible. And there have been a lot of chaotic races where you just never know who's going to win the race, even though Luxury's starting from pole. I don't know if we've had anyone starting from pole this season win the race. It's always been an absolute mixed bag. But can Luxury change that story that we've been telling all throughout the season? We will see. But Lime's going to want the win here. Zampa's going to want the win here. Luxury's going to want the win here. Steven's going to want the win here. 4 drivers I just mentioned started inside the top 5 yet to get... Oh, actually, Lime has got wins. A54, unfortunately, just seems like he's unable to get back into the lobby. We'll give him one more invite for the hope of him getting back in again, but it seems EA is not allowing him into the lobby, unfortunately, which is annoying to miss out, because Abe has just been added to the VCorp team, I believe, and unfortunately been unable to race. But anyway, we will now have the 5 red lights on shortly. As the 5 red lights go on in Japan, round 8, here in Tier 2 WHF. And as they go out, Luxury leads us away as Lime gets a shoddy start, allows Zampa straight up into P2. And Zampa now may even have a look on the inside of Luxury as they just about navigate through. And there's a yellow flag out, and SNZ already out of the session. And it's a safety car here on lap 1 as SNZ mentioned he was having wheel trouble. And SNZ, you can see in the background, his car stricken. And I think SNZ's wheel disconnected there as we have multiple swaps under the safety car here. But interesting to see there. SNZ, I believe, had a issue with wheel disconnect potentially. But a mixed tyre strategy for many drivers. SNZ in the chat, did you get a wheel disconnect or what happened? And also, Ayub, if you're listening, at any point if you sort out your issue, we can still get you back into the lobby. This safety car gives you a bit more time to get back in again. But soft tyres I was not expecting to see here in Japan. Rio Harris says one stop is easy here. Maybe if you're on wheel it is, but on pad it is awful. As is every track on the game, pad is awful. But I don't know if Zampa or as Page and SN are in Sci-Fi swap positions there. I don't know why. Page also seems to have picked up some damage as well. Not ideal for the Williams race here. Big damage on the front left there. I wonder is Page involved in that contact with SNZ potentially at the start of the race. As Andrew already in on the off the softs, and I honestly don't think the softs were really the right move, to be honest. Zampa has started the softs, we will see. As Page unfortunately gets a speeding in the pit lane penalty, doesn't quite get slowed up. As Zampa now going quite slowly under the safety car, not quite sure why. Needs to get caught back up again within 10 car lengths. But Zampa, TJ starting on the soft tyres along with Andrew. Andrew's box for hards now. Luxury start on the hards, so he's going to try and extend before he swaps to mediums potentially. I believe I did do a one stop here in Japan. It was just high tyre wear, but there's other tracks where the wear is even more high, so we'll have to see. But Kevin did mention this will help drivers one stop, and it'll certainly help Luxury because it may have taken some of the sting out of Zampa's soft tyres off the start there. Zampa could have really opened a gap there very quickly if he could have got ahead of Luxury, but now Luxury has a better opportunity to warm up these hard tyres and protect a bit from Zampa before Zampa does get the opportunity to try and get ahead. It may allow Luxury a couple laps to bed in these tyres to defend from Zampa. Also, a lot of drivers there in the midfield on the mediums. Is the medium hard the strategy to go? It would be the strategy that I would pick. But if you can make the hard medium work like Luxury currently is trying to do, we will see. It may be the stronger strategy. But Page, if you're listening, box for hards if the safety car doesn't come in. I don't know if Page is listening, but it'll help you get rid of your 10-second penalty if you box now. As Gunnar comes in. Gunnar already on lap 2 here. And Gunnar actually going to fix some damage here on the front of the Cerberus car. And Gunnar goes for another set of mediums. So, possibly doing a medium hard from here. But Page unfortunately missed the opportunity to box. Page, if you're listening, don't box now because the safety car will come in this lap and you'll not get the advantage that I was talking about. So, stay out this lap. As Lime, who had a chance at pole, had it snatched away from Luxury, didn't get the best of starts. Zampa got him into turn 1, but can Lime get ahead of Zampa again under the safety car restart? We will see. But still a lot that can happen in this race. But can Luxury get a win on his comeback? We will see. But the safety car message of it being called in should be coming up now as we exit Sector 2. And we should get the message that the safety car is in this lap. And there it is. As Luxury now, we will slow up to a crawl to let the safety car go in. As Ellis and Ollie been swapping under the safety car. That's not ideal, as Luxury will try and get us restarted here. And Zampa will look to follow As out of the final corner, Luxury goes. Zampa following here on the soft tyres. Luxury will start the race essentially because the safety car was out so early. And Luxury on these hard tyres will defend from Zampa and keep it ahead. And this may allow him to warm his tyres, but runs wide at turn 1. Opens the door to Zampa on these soft tyres. And Zampa pressurising already as Gunner gets ahead of Page down into turn 1 there. Lime on the rear of Zampa as well. Going to try and put some pressure on the Williams. But Luxury went a little deep into turn 1. Luxury now going to try and recompose here as Gunner battling with Andrew. Andrew's dropped down to P19. Not quite sure what's happened with Andrew as Raheem on the rear of Ollie Bean. Raheem washes out wide, trying to stay with the Mercedes, dealing with some dirty air there. As there's a yellow flag out in track. Not quite sure why the yellow flag is still out there. I think that's just a visual glitch. As Lime now on the rear of Zampa. And these two have came together multiple times this season. And into Spoon Curve. Will we see it again? Side by side they go. Lime side by side with Zampa. And Lime gets ahead. Lovely move from Lime. But can he head after Luxury? And through Spoon Curve, Lime gets ahead of Zampa. But DRS will be enabled next lap, which may give him the opportunity as Northey, dropping down the order, drops behind Page and Gunner. But we do have Zampa back on the rear of Lime. Lime did get up into P2 with a lovely move through Spoon Curve. And now Lime going to try and head after Luxury here on lap 5. As Lime sets the fastest lap of the race. Zampa now back on the inside of Lime. Side by side they go down into turn 1. This could be carnage. As side by side they go. A little bit of contact. Bumping and barging through turn 1. Zampa leaves the track as he rejoins. Lime gets ahead, but Tai gets through the gap after these two come together. Zampa and Lime coming to blows yet again. You just always expected that it was going to happen. Zampa and Lime have crossed the margin too many times this season. And again they've come to blows here on lap 5. As Zampa going to have to try and recompose again to head after Lime. As Tyclair going to try and stay with Luxury inside DRS range. We'll double check that Abe can't get back in again. We'll try and send him another invite if possible. But just seems like he hasn't been able to get it working. But we'll do one more for good luck, hopefully. As Stephen now on the rear of Zampa. Has Zampa overheated these soft tyres already? Potentially racing them too hard. As Stephen trying to stay with Crimson also. Pressurising Stephen here, our championship leader, down in P5 currently. As Ty currently in the best position to regain his championship lead here. Sitting in P2 as Crimson gets ahead of Stephen Beecham. Was there coming together between Crimson and Stephen? We'll have to see after the race if that is reported to the stewards. Or was it just a mistake there from Stephen out of the final corner that allowed Crimson through? And now the championship leader drops down to P7 as TJ, who won last time out, had a quali ban already up to P11 now. On these soft tyres, TJ having a great comeback drive there as Page battling along with Andrew and Northey as well. As Crimson getting out of Zampa, and Zampa's spun, and Zampa unfortunately again, thankfully he goes battling with Lanky there. Almost a really bad place for his car to unghost, as he was not driving at race pace. But Zampa overheating these soft tyres and spins, exiting the Dunlop curve. But that has helped build a gap now, with Scones now up into P5. Not sure when at what point Scones got ahead of Stephen, but Scones now up into P5, has Crimson ahead of him next. As Ty on the rear of Luxury. Can Ty get ahead and start to use these mediums in clear air? We will see. Can Luxury defend from Ty as we head down the main street as we start lap 7? Can Ty get ahead of Luxury? And Ty in the Ferrari, currently P3 in the championship, but a win here could absolutely add a lot to it as Lime dives on the inside. Luxury leaves the track a bit afraid of Lime's move there as Luxury trying to find a way back around the outside again, but Lime gets on through there, and Luxury spooked off the apex of the corner as Lime picked the inside there, and Luxury down to P3 as Lime went for a brave move into turn 1, but now Ty, can he build a gap as Andrew and Page have a coming together here, and Andrew potentially admitting blame there because Andrew is leaving a gap for Page to get ahead. Meanwhile, Zampa into the rear of Page as Zampa pits on the hard tyres, but now coming to blows with his Williams teammate for today. Meanwhile, Luxury, surprisingly enough, on these hard tyres has dropped out of DRS range. Still on lap 7, the medium showing some pace. And they're building a gap from Luxury, but can he get back inside DRS range? We'll see. We also missed Stephen getting back ahead of Scones as well. But Lime heading after Ty clear. Luxury back inside DRS range. And if Luxury can hold on to the DRS train for a little bit here, his hard tyres will certainly start to outperform the cars ahead as Gunner battling with Sci-Fi and Meghype. Sci-Fi looking for the switchback. And now with DRS, who will have it will be Sci-Fi or Gunner. And DRS enabled for Gunner, may keep it ahead of Sci-Fi as he tries to chase him as TJ on the rear of Raheem as well. A little bit of a mini train from Ellis, Ollie Bean and Raheem here. Can TJ find an opening? Unable to get his way through on the Sauber here. As Zampa does finally get ahead of Page up into P17. And Lime looking on the rear of Ty into the hairpin, almost finding an opening is the Aston Martin driver. And Luxury dropping a little bit back from this battle as Lime on the inside, as Ty defending and Lime pushing him through, and may even dive it into Spoon Curve, but Ty defending here. Lime lucky to keep his front wing there, brushing the rear of the Ferrari. As Luxury now back again chasing. Lime trying to stay with Ty here. As Ollie Bean getting ahead of Ellis as well. As Ellis leaves the track. Raheem now on the outside. Owen Ledgeman brushes the rear of his brother Ollie Bean. And Raheem with a lovely move round the outside. Is TJ going to follow him through? Lime up into turn 1. Gets ahead of Ty. As we were watching some lovely moves there. As TJ battle with Raheem down into turn 1. TJ battles out. Thinks better of going for a move there. Very risky move to go for. But we did see a lovely move from Raheem ahead of Ledgeman, and TJ followed him through, but Lime into the lead of the race now, and Ty going to try and follow him through as Luxury seems to have made a little bit of a mistake round Dunlop Curve. But Ty now dropping a bit back from Lime, Lime pushing hard to try and drop Ty out of DRS, and Ty now it's got to push a little bit to stay with Lime. And Luxury also got to think about pushing as well. But Ty is he losing DRS to Lime here? Ty dropping back a little bit. And can Lime build a gap? It's 2 tenths now to DRS range. Ty's going to surely dump the battery here. Up to 130R. We can see the rear light flashing on the Aston Martin. As Ty now back inside DRS range. But surely would want to be a bit closer to be comfortable. But Ty now back inside DRS range. As he goes a little deep though, that may open the door to Luxury. As Lanky gets ahead of Ellis before 130R. We do have Luxury trying to find a way through past on Ty. And Ty rear flashing on that Ferrari as Luxury going to pick the inside. And Luxury dives it on through into turn 1. And Luxury back up to P2. As he'll try and head after Luxury as a big snap in the rear there. As TJ getting ahead of Raheem. And there's so much action, we don't know who to follow. Gunner getting ahead of Ledgeman here. As Ledgeman down to P12. But so much action throughout the pack. Lime losing the rear at a Dunlop Curve, allowing Luxury to close back up again here on lap 10. And can Luxury close up to the Aston Martin driver and go for a move on this lap, or even the next one? We will see. Meanwhile, Crimson and Stephen and Scones all ticking away in behind. Scones keeping DRS range from Stephen. But if the race were to finish as is, it would help Ty clear the most. Ty may reclaim his championship lead here, as Luxury now climbing to the rear of Luxury, or climbing to the rear of Lime. As you can see, the rear flashing on that Aston Martin car ahead of him. And Luxury now with DRS on these hard tyres. Can he find a way through on the Aston Martin as he tries to find the traction into the final corner? Lime's going to try and give it everything to defend here, but Luxury now with DRS may blow past the Aston Martin driver and does just that. And Luxury now comfortably ahead into P1. As Stephen Beecham, the first driver in for hard tyres. And that may have been a little early, but he was trying the undercut here as TJ getting ahead of Ollie Beaton now. And TJ with a mega recovery drive here on the soft tyres. He's taken the softs very long as well. TJ having a brilliant race here in this one, considering how long he's managed those softs and the pace he's shown as well. Meanwhile, Luxury now, can he drop Lime out of DRS range? Can Lime drop Ty out of DRS range? These three have been fighting throughout the race so far. Meanwhile, Crimson appears to be a bit in no man's land along with Scones. Meanwhile, TJ trying to build the gap to Ollie Bean, but Ollie Bean has the mediums, so you'd expect Ollie Bean's mediums to be performing better, but TJ has just shown lightning pace in these soft tyres. TJ may even try a soft medium here, and I don't know how he's making it work, because I certainly couldn't, but TJ showing some really strong pace here today. As Sci-Fi heading after Ellis. Meanwhile, Lime trying to stay with Luxury. Ty still in DRS range here as well on lap 11. When do the medium runners come in? You want to try and leave it as late as possible to around lap 12, lap 13. And Lime, Ty have done that. Ty just about keeping DRS range. Crimson staying out. Scones going to come in now for the hard tyres. And the hards should comfortably go to the end. TJ now coming in as well. We'll see what tyres TJ picks. Is it mediums or is it hards? We will see. And TJ going for a set of mediums. So very aggressive strategy from TJ here. But he's done very well so far. Meanwhile, Ellis ahead of Dubsy. Dubsy leaves the track though. Big mistake there from Dub. Which opens the door to Sci-Fi to get ahead there. Meanwhile, Scones, who has gone for the overcut, has been undercut by Stephen. But can Scones get back inside DRS range here? We will see. Meanwhile, Ty appears to be dropping a bit back again from Lime and Luxury. Can Ty push to get back inside DRS range here? Or will he fall victim to the pace of Lime and Luxury that just seem to be building a gap further and further down the road here? Ty 1.6 behind Lime now. As the yellow flag's out, Zampa's out of the session, and it's a VSC. This is the perfect time for the medium runners to pit. I'm not quite sure where Zampa's car is stricken at all, really. I don't know where he's crashed there, but a VSC has come out. And Luxury's actually gone in here along with Lime and Ty and Crimson as well. This VSC is going to really help all the medium runners here. But Luxury now going to have to try and extend his mediums to go to the end there. That's going to be a big ask. And not quite sure if he can do it here. But Luxury, under that VSC, has actually pulled a bit of a gap here to Lime. Lime probably a bit more hesitant into the box. But Luxury's actually got 2 seconds gained under that VSC. That's a bit surprising. We'll see when it goes green what the time is, but a lot of gaps have formed under that VSC there. Quite surprising to see. Gunners stayed out there, made a mistake. Gunners should have went onto the hards under that VSC. Don't know quite what he's doing. Along with Sci-Fi as well, should have went hards. Northey coming in for medium tyres as well. But surprised to see Gunner stay out there. As Ollie Bean gets a drive through. That is not what you want. Along with Gunner as well. Luxury's got a 3-second time penalty under that VSC restart. That is not ideal for Luxury. But drive-throughs for Gunner and Ollie Bean. And Gunner just completely missed the boat. Should have boxed, didn't. And now he's forced to serve a drive-through. Meanwhile, a couple of drivers have missed out here on position. Stephen gets out of Dub. We've got TJ and Ollie Bean battling. Ollie Bean gonna have to unfortunately serve a drive-through after having a decent race in this one. Meanwhile, Scones chasing after Dub as Stephen chasing after Sci-Fi Mega Hype. But Luxury, Lime and Ty all have built massive gaps here under that VSC. As Lanky picks up a 3-second time penalty. As Stephen now down through 130R. And Stephen gets ahead. Brave move through 130R for the Ferrari driver. Meanwhile, Scones going to try and head after these drivers who have much more worn tyres. Can Scones find a way through Dub and Sci-Fi Mega Hype as well? As Dub now in the rear of Sci-Fi Mega Hype, going to pull to the inside. And Dub now through into P7 as Scones on the rear of his South African compatriot. Meanwhile, Luxury almost on the rear of Gunner now, but Gunner still yet to serve that drive-through. But what factor will the 3-second time penalty play in Luxury's race? Can he manage the mediums to the end here? Is Luxury on the outside of Gunner? Gunner just waves him on through. Gunner doesn't want to deal with any stress of battling with the leader here. And Luxury now, if he continues to build a gap here and manages the mediums, Luxury may have a win on his return. Meanwhile, Lime just got to focus on keeping his tyre wear down, because he'll slowly come back towards Luxury again towards the end of this race. And as long as he can get inside that 3-second penalty threshold of Luxury, Lime could have a win here for the 3rd time this season. Meanwhile, Ty may come under pressure from Crimson. Crimson not that far back from DRS range. Stephen, who tried the undercut, unfortunately lost a lot of time because of the VSC. As Scones now on the inside of Sci-Fi Mega Hype. We've also got TJ on the inside of Sci-Fi Mega Hype as well. Through 130R, another brave move on Sci-Fi Mega Hype. 2 laps in a row here. As TJ wants Sci-Fi into the rear of TJ, and contact and damage for Sci-Fi. And he probably should come in and fix that damage, which he is going to do. And hopefully he does get the front wing fixed on the front of that V-Carb. As TJ now charging to the rear of Scones, and TJ on the inside of Scones gets ahead. Lovely brave move from TJ there on these medium tyres, and TJ with an amazing recovery drive here. Started P19 all the way up to P8 now, and he sees Dub Z in his future, not that far up the road here. And meanwhile, Luxury continuing to build this gap here as well. And TJ all over the rear of Dub Z. Dub still yet to box, waves on through TJ. And Dub possibly thinking about mediums soon. But surprised, although Dub may have started on the hards, so that's possibly why he didn't go mediums. Meanwhile, Luxury has gone mediums, but can he extend them to the end is the question. He does have less fuel on board, but he needs to go longer on those mediums than he did on the hard tyres, so we will certainly see. As Scones now on the rear of Dub. Can Scones get through on the McLaren driver as Gunner comes in to serve his drive through? And we'll have to also think about boxing soon as well, because I don't know if his mediums will go to the end. Already 13 laps on those mediums. Meanwhile, Scones now with DRS on the rear of Dubsy. Can he catch the McLaren as we charge down to turn 1? Scones on the inside of the McLaren gets ahead now. And Dub still doing pretty well despite how old his tyres are, but Dub gotta think about boxing soon. I wonder, is he trying to stay out for a safety car? Meanwhile, yellow flag out, not quite sure who that's for. Who was involved there? It may have been Gunner. I'm not entirely sure who it was. Either way, Ty clear. Back up inside DRS range of Lime. Lime pushing too hard on those hard tires and just falling backwards. Luxury now has a 9-second gap to Lime. As Ty now has DRS on the rear of the Aston Martin driver. And Ty, if he can get a P2 here, it could massively help him in the championship. As Crimson still trying to catch Ty and Lime here. As North 8 picks up a 3-second time penalty. Ty now on the rear of Lime. And can Ty get a decent exit out of the final corner to try and get ahead of Lime here? As Ty charging down the main straight and catching Lime into turn 1. Lime's gone defensive on the inside line and defends down into turn 1. Meanwhile, Crimson still trying to catch, but doesn't have that DRS advantage to help him catch to Lime and Ty. As Gunnar finally does come in. 4 hard tyres, 10 laps on the hards. It's less time than he did the mediums on, but we did mention how him not going in and under that VSC has cost him here. Meanwhile, Dub on the softs to the end. It's a doable stint, but a bit of a struggle. We did see TJ pull it off, as TJ now actually on the rear of Steven. TJ has been flying here today. Won last time out in Austria, has a quali ban, and started P19. But that has not phased him at all. And TJ now up into P6 now. And on the rear of Steven, battling for P5 as well. TJ has been marching forward the entire race. And just no one has had any answer for the Alpine. Meanwhile, Ty trying to stay with Lime now. That's Ty with DRS now back on the rear of Lime. And can Ty down the main straight get ahead of the Aston Martin driver? As the Aston goes defensive back into turn 1 again. And Ty can't find an opening as TJ gets through on the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham. TJ now up into P5 as Lanky getting ahead of Scones. We've got Ollie Bean and Ellis battling here as Dubsy watches the brothers battle. Ollie Bean actually leaves the track there. And Dub now on these soft tyres. Can he find a way through as the brothers box him in now? Oh, and a big contact into the wall goes Ledgeman. And somehow catches it there, but Dub Z moving across in the straight there. And contact with Ledgeman and Ollie Bean. I'm not quite sure how Ledgeman has avoided damage there. It looked like he hit the car and the wall. But Ledgeman somehow has avoided damage on that Mercedes. Meanwhile, Ty, yet again dropping back from Lime. Lime just seems to have a lot of pace in that first and middle sector. But Ty able to pull it back. And as Kevin Cal mentions in the chat, it was a lovely save from Ledgeman. I'm surprised he survived there without any damage. That was a major save. A major swap run for Ledgeman. And he had to really collect that, which he has done superbly. Meanwhile, Ty still pushing to stay with Lime here. Lime has decent pace here, but Luxury seems to be in a whole different stratosphere after that VSC. That VSC has helped Luxury, Lime and Ty as well as Crimson. But the man who has helped the most seems to be Luxury. Luxury built a gap under that VSC and is just continuing to build and build as time progresses. As Ellis battling with Gunnar, and what a switchback. Absolutely diabolical switchback from Ledgeman. But Gunnar with DRS going to get back ahead. But that was absolutely beautiful from Ledgeman there. And unfortunately, he'll not keep the move despite how beautiful that was. But Gunnar on the 4-lap fresher hards, able to get ahead now with DRS. He's going to head after Ollie Bean. Meanwhile, Dubsy into P10. Has 10 seconds to get caught up to Raheem ahead. But possibly can do it by the end of the race here. Meanwhile, Ty can continuing to drop back from line, but can Ty get back into DRS range again here? As SNZ leaves the session, unfortunately crashed out on lap 1. And unfortunately for SNZ, just not the ideal race at all. As Lime may have DRS from Page here. We'll see, does the Aston Martin get DRS? And no DRS for Lime. Ty still inside DRS range, which does give Ty the advantage still. And Ty trying to stay with Lime here as best he can through the first sector. Crimson unable to catch. Meanwhile, important to note, TJ has been absolutely flying. But surely he's got to think about managing those mediums to the end. Surely he might be pushing them too hard because he's got so much pace. There isn't any way he's able to keep the tyre wear down on these tyres, surely. But if TJ is able to get ahead of Crimson here and manage these mediums to the end, I will be flabbergasted. This will be one of the best performances of this season. As Rio in the chat says, I can't lie, it's a Red Bull and Williams masterclass. And yeah, looking very well. Kevin says, looks like Luxury has this one, and it really does. It had been a competitive race the whole way up until that VSC after Zampa crashed out. And the VSC, for whatever reason, had separated people by like 2 seconds or so. It was a very strange VSC. But Luxury actually into the box. Luxury doesn't believe his tyres are going to go to the end. So Lime now back into the driver's seat here. Very dramatic. Luxury doesn't think his tyres are going to go to the end. And Lime now back into the lead of the race. And also Ty doesn't have DRS. This is absolute drama. And Lime could potentially have a championship comeback on if he can get a win here in Japan. And with Luxury into the box, that has thrown an absolute spanner into the works. Luxury's going to be doing in quali laps until the end here. And be absolutely flying. As coming together as Gunnar and Ollie Bean side by side they go. And Ollie Bean, and Gunnar runs wide, takes out the DRS board. As Gunnar washes off wide onto the grass. As Sci-Fi Magite with a 3-second time penalty. But Luxury getting ahead of Stephen Beecham into the Degnas. A rare place to see a move there, but Luxury now has got 5 seconds to get caught up to TJ and Crimson. Meanwhile, important to note, TJ into DRS range now of Crimson, and TJ could be within a shot of a podium. This is very impressive, but we'll have to keep an eye on Luxury's pace here. He could still potentially win, but it would be a sensational drive, and he'd have to find a lot of pace on these soft tyres. We will see as Gunnar with another 3-second time penalty. Ty just about back in DRS range from Line. It's all on the straights that Ty is able to stay with Line. And for some reason, Line does not know how to manage the battery to save his life, because if he did know how to manage the battery, he could have pulled the gap already to Ty. Meanwhile, TJ catching the rear of Crimson. Crimson's going defensive to the inside. TJ round the outside, trying to find the way through, but Crimson goes wide though. TJ with a switchback. Oh, it's a big spin though from TJ over to the grass. And he just about saves it there, but has lost range from Crimson now. After that big half spin, he caught it beautifully. But now may come under threat from Luxury very quickly here. But can Ty just play it smart here? One thing Lime has not been doing all race is managing his ERS smartly. And we can't really quite see what Ty's ERS level is because of the helmet. But Luxury now pushing, and can he catch TJ? TJ may have overheated his mediums there, battling with Crimson. And now Luxury on the rear of TJ on much better soft tyres here. Luxury flying here, but does he have the pace to win this race? We will see. Meanwhile, Ty still trying to stay with Line inside DRS range. Yellow flag out there as we've seen Page, I think, as Gunnar off the track there and into the wall. And Gunnar yet again having a nightmarish race here as Andrew 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane penalty. And Andrew retires from the session, which will essentially hand points to Page in P18 as Luxury sets the fastest lap of the race. On the inside now, TJ Luxury gets on the inside. Side by side, he goes wide as Luxury back out there. Looked like he had the move. And then backed out there. And now on the outside, Luxury trying to find a way through. And this extra lap of battling may cost Luxury massively here. On a big half spin from Luxury. He seems to be driving these tyres just too far as Gunnar loses another position to Sci-Fi Mega Hype and may even drop behind Northy as Ty now still trying to stay with Lime. TJ as Luxury dives on the inside at the hairpin. Risky place to go for a move. And now Luxury trying to outdrag TJ, and Luxury gets ahead now as Gunnar retires in the pit lane, which will essentially help Page even more. As TJ washes out wide. Luxury now inside DRS range from Crimson. Ty still trying to stay inside DRS range of Lime, but Lime has had great pace through the first and middle sector. But Ty just about able to stay in DRS range, but if Lime could get a gift like this where it potentially gets DRS range from the car ahead, a lap car ahead, and Lime gets it there. Lime DRS from the Alpine ahead of A54, who is actually not even in the lobby. This could help Lime massively. As Luxury now on the rear of Crimson. And gotta think about managing the battery in behind the McLaren, because if he can get ahead of the McLaren, he then has 2 laps to push to get ahead of Ty and Lime. But Ty and Lime have been continually battling in this race. Lime has been holding Ty at bay. And Lime actually got the DRS on this lap as Luxury into the Dagnas gets ahead of Crimson. What? A sensational move there from Luxury. These soft tyres are absolutely flying. And can he get caught up to Lime and Ty? We will see. But he does have that 3-second time penalty that may cost him in the end here. Meanwhile, Ty, throughout the race here, has just been struggling to stay in DRS range of Lime here. SNZ says, Pen and 6 seconds to catch, no way. Luxury's going to do it, but Luxury has shown great pace here, but will he have enough pace in the tank? We will see. As Crimson now with DRS. Can he head after Luxury? We will see. TJ dropping back a bit. Steven not able to catch him. Meanwhile, Ty all over the rear of Lime. What's happened there? The gap has closed up massively here on the third final lap. Ty almost was within range for a move there in the Ferrari. And all of a sudden, as we come to a close in the end of this race, Ty almost able to make a move on Lime here as Lanky picks up another 3-second time penalty. Can Ty catch Lime by the end of this race? As it stands, Ty would take the championship lead, I believe, by outscoring TJ and Steven, but a win would really help swing the momentum of the championship back in Ty's favour. And as we head onto lap 26 soon, we have one more sector to go before we get there, but Ty was very close to making a move on Lime on the previous lap. Can he get any closer on this lap? It seems Ty's got much more straight line speed than the Aston Martin driver. Will see him close, as he always has been, through 130R. As Lime flashing on that Aston Martin driver. Can Ty now out of the final corner get a good exit in the Ferrari and plant the throttle, get DRS on that Ferrari. And as we start the penultimate lap, can Ty start to catch Lime? Lime weaving down the straight, which is insanely questionable. The stewards may have to have a look at that one. That was very strange. But Ty on the rear of Lime again here. And can Ty stay with the Aston Martin driver through Sector 1 here to give him an advantage to be even closer? As Ty touches the grass through the Degnas. And Ty through the hairpin. Can he stay with Lime? Lime seems to have a lot more downforce on his car. Pulls a gap through Sector 1 and the start of Sector 2. But as we get onto the straights, Ty has been pulling back a gap. But has it been too much for Ty now? And Ty trying to catch Lime here. He's 2/10 out of DRS range. He's got to dump the battery to get back inside DRS range from Lime. And he's further back than he ever really has been in this battle for the win. Meanwhile, Luxury, big lock up through the final corner, trying to get that 3-second pen margin to Crimson. Ty still trying to catch Lime, doesn't have DRS though. Meanwhile, we've got TJ on the rear of Crimson on the final lap here. Crimson, who's got DRS from the Alpine, that's not been here today, which again has added some drama. But here on the final lap, has Lime done enough to keep the Ferrari of Ty at bay? Ty has been close in previous laps, but can Ty get ahead here? As Luxury may even lose out to Crimson and TJ because of his penalty threshold. But Lime dumping the battery, as I'm sure Ty is as well here on the final lap. Ty 1.3 behind. And Lime, possibly for the third time this season, could have a win here and really start to mount a title charge. As he charges up to 130R, the Aston Martin driver has kept the Ferrari of Ty at bay the whole race long, and Lime now just has to navigate the final corner. And Lime in the Aston Martin for the third time this season as he rounds the final corner. Lime will win in Japan ahead of Ty Clear, followed by Luxury, although he may lose the podium to Crimson and TJ. Unfortunately, Luxury had a great race on his comeback to WHF, but drops down to P5. Meanwhile, Stephen finishes P6, followed by Scones in P7. As Luxury just misses out on P4 by a 10th, as Lanky in P8, followed by Raheem with a season best P9 for Raheem. Next, it's Dubsy in P10, who may even picked up the fastest lap there, as Ollie Bean in P11, followed by Ellis, as Page will finish P15, as Ayub was not here the entire race. And Ellis into P12. Sci-Fi Maghype will be next across the line. And next will be Northy. He'll be the final driver to cross the line. But what I will do as we wait is I will head over to the driver interviews, so that anyone can join if they would like, as Northy will be the final finisher out there. But a great race for Northy. Will outscore Page in the LTJ Championship. And there you have it. Lime wins again here in Tier 2, third win of the season, and finishes ahead of Ty, but Ty with a P2 there may make his way up to may make his way up to the championship lead here. We'll have to do the calculations following the race there, but Ty could have retaken the championship lead ahead of his teammate here, ahead of Stephen and TJ. And with that, we'll start off the interviews with Lime. How'd that race go for you? As unfortunately, I've had the glitch again where I don't get to see the race director or the timing screen. If anyone can get the timing screen, please do, because it's not letting me see it. Hopefully the app works today. Anyway, we'll start with Lime. Lime, how'd your race go?
Yeah, qualify wasn't too bad. Apart from when I set my P2 lap, my dad came in and actually scared the crap out of me. That's why I ended up crashing into a wall because I didn't expect it. But race off the line, Samp obviously started on the soft, so got just such a better getaway than me. I saw Luxury on the hards, and I thought, well, he's either going to have to go long, or I'm just going to have to undercut him and just see how it goes. But safety car lap 1 was not what I expected. So I was kind of on the back foot after that. But no, I caught up, had some decent battles. And just carried along, overtook the Ferrari and the VCAL. Set out to lead for a little bit and then got overtaken. And I was like, right, need to pit soon. Luckily, VSC came out literally right when I went to pit. So we all came in, pitted. And then after a while, I accidentally went to the gravel. And I was absolutely hunted by Ty Clear at that point, but I held him off as much as I could. I don't know if my defense was a little bit dirty. I just tried to give him space inside and just squeeze him a little bit, not too much. But really well played by Ty Clear just to stick with me for the rest of the race in the day. Yeah, unlike Australia. But no, I enjoyed it.
Well, congrats again. It's your third win of the season, Lime. Could you see yourself by the end winning the championship?
I mean, we'll have to see, won't we? If the form keeps up like this, well, yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Well, thank you, Lime, and we'll move on to Crimson, because I don't believe Ty's in here. But Crimson, how'd your race go there?
It actually went a lot better than expected. Practice all week, I was in the gravel almost damn near every time, and it was not a good time. And I was damn near a second off the pace, and then what was his name? The new guy. He pit. I wasn't expecting that. And then TJ, he tried passing me, and there's one chance he spun, and then after that I knew I was going to be able to keep him behind me with his tire wear. So other than that, it was just playing defense and trying to see if I can catch back up to his 3-second penalty.
Well, you did pick up a P3, and I think you gain points there on both Stephen and TJ to help you close to the championship lead as well.
Yeah, it won't matter that much anyways, because I'll be missing next week, sadly.
Oh, that is heartbreaking. I was just about to mention, out of all the drivers in that top 5, or even just the top 4, you're about 11 points off that top 3, but a large part of it comes down to you did miss a race this season already, so if you were on equal races, you could have been potentially battling for the championship a bit closer, but unfortunately missing another race may be detrimental.
I knew I was going to shoot my chances with the incident. I knew I was going to miss it.
Well, all you got to do is win every race that you turn up for next, and then you have it in the bag.
Hopefully.
But thank you, Crimson, and congrats on another podium, as we'll move on to TJ with one of an absolute biblical drive, to say the least, from P19 to P4. TJ, how'd that race go for you?
It definitely went good. To be fair, I don't even want to sound like big head or anything, but I was definitely expecting to get up to the front because my pace around Japan was. I love this track. I've grinded it since I think F1 2020. I love this track so much, and I was just picking people off. I got stuck in a DRS train, and then the VSC came out, and that hurt me a bit because I think the lap before it, and I was really annoyed by that. But I caught up to Crimson. And I did think I was going to be able to get past him. I was getting his DRS, but the tyre wear offset was just way too much. But regardless, I'll definitely take a P4 from starting 19th.
Yeah, and it is possibly one of the best drives of the season so far. It was a pleasure to watch, and I'm surprised just at the pace, it just seemed like at no point you were ever falling backwards. Only really towards the end when you had the big half spin in behind Crimson did it seem like you lost a wee bit of pace because you're overheating the mediums a little bit. But nonetheless, you still had great pace under that Alpine.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, if I didn't have that half spin, that was my mistake. To be fair, that wasn't even that. Well, tires would have maybe played a part in it, but I was just too eager on the throttle to that bit. I should have been just a lot more easier, and I think I would have been able to get past him maybe there. He probably would have got me back, but I definitely think I would have gotten past there if I was just a bit easier.
Yep. Thank you, TJ. We'll move on to Stephen Beecham, who going into the race was the championship leader. But Stephen, you did mention last week that I think Japan is not one of your favourites. And as we watched you out there, it didn't seem like it was one of your favourites. But Stephen, how'd that race go for you?
Pretty much sums it up. Yeah, Japan's definitely not one of my favorites. But I did try to undercut all that was in front of me, and right after I pit, virtual safety cars, so that was the end of my race there. As far as the top five, so P6 is okay. I think I did all right. I did struggle a bit in the beginning, so I do apologize to Crimson because he was behind me holding on because I I had a little bit of hand cramping going on, and I was trying to hold on to the wheel. But P6 is okay. Still got some good points, and we'll just keep pushing and see what we can do.
All right, thank you, Stephen. And I actually haven't asked everyone about what the next race is. I haven't checked what it is. It is
Baku. It's Baku.
Oh, Baku. So everyone make way for Scones, who's gonna pick up his first win of the season next time out.
God, I'm missing. It would have been my first DNF.
But unfortunately, Scones is not here to talk about how he's going to win in Baku next time out. But nonetheless, we'll move on to Ollie Bean, who for this evening wins the LTJ battle. Ollie Bean, how'd that race go for you?
Safety car right off the start wasn't ideal because I got overtaken a few times, and then the safety car hit. A little bit unfortunate, and then the VSC came quite nicely, but then I was literally a tenth off of, and then it did it, and I got the drive-through penalty, which was really, really unfortunate because I think I was in P6 or P7 at the time.
Yeah, I do
really unfortunate.
I do think we're having one of your best races so far this season, and it was just really ill-timed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was. But had some good battles with Ledgeman and Gunnar. But me and Gunnar had another little incident. I'll have to have a look at it, but it was fun fighting back up after the drive-through penalty. So I still had fun.
Well, that's good to hear because we have fun F1, so that is the main goal. But we'll move on to Ledgeman. Ledgeman, how'd your race go as well?
Well, as Ollie said, where he got sent off first or second turn, so I was able to get a position, then the safety car came out. That mostly benefited me. But then under safety car, whilst we were formed up in the queue, I did get rear-ended. Luckily, it didn't cause any lasting damage, but very nearly spun out from it. Then I feel like I did okay. I was losing Scones in front for quite a while. Like, he was simply faster than me, and I was holding up Ollie. I will be honest. Ollie sent up the inside on the fast left-hander of sector 3. I don't know the corner name. I went off ever so slightly. No one's fault there. And then I sort of got shunted a little bit, rear-ended Ollie ever so slightly. He nearly went off. I nearly went off. But that picked me up a little bit of wing damage, which stayed with me for the rest of the race because it wasn't enough to quite worth pitting. But especially on the worn tyres, it affected me quite a bit. And then me and Ollie came wheel to wheel again, and someone, I don't actually know who, decided to slot their car right in the middle of us when there was not a car's width. So I went spinning. I brought back season 4. Is it season 4, Ledger Spin? Went absolutely flying.
It was Dubsy. he slotted his car right in the middle of me and Alice, and we both nearly went off. He just broke right through.
I so nearly DNF'd. I just went skidding through the grass and everything. And then I think it sort of settled. Oh no, I did get quite lucky with a pit stop, to be fair. The virtual safety car came out right as I went to go pit. So it was an okay race. Could have gone better, but also could have gone
Hello
better.
there.
just want to mention thank you, Pipon, for the follow there in the chat. Also, Ledgeman, we did see you having a come together with Dubsy down the main straight, and a major save. How was the feeling in the car then?
What one was that? With me and Ollie.
Well, you, Ollie, and Dubsy were down the main straight, and then just whatever happened, I think the camera cut away as the incident was happening. So we just seen you having a massive spin and somehow saving the car.
I was swerving everywhere because it was so. I was trying to also keep pace in some way, so I would be honest, I didn't lift because I tried to keep it straight, so it probably made it worse. But yeah, it was very. I thought I DNF'd. Like, I was so sure because I think I went into the wall backwards, but I only really scraped it, so I managed to get away quite lightly.
Yeah, we did see the onboard of your car, and we were like thinking, how does he not have damage on the front wing? We just couldn't work it out because I'm pretty sure you smacked the wall and another car in that kerfuffle.
Yeah, I was so lucky.
But thank you, Ledgeman. We'll move on to Gunnar. Unfortunately, Gunnar, it's been another painstaking evening. How'd that race go for you? Although I'm pretty sure we're going to know the answer.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just so unlucky. From the first lap, was it? I just rear-ended Ledgeman because I lost control. I wasn't focusing. Got wing damage, pitted. And then it was a nice fight back, like, to get to like P11 again from P20, so it was quite fun. And then another VSC. I thought I had a lot of pace, so I stayed out. I was actually first for a bit, so never going to happen again, but yeah. And then what happened after that? I got a drive-through because my friend joined the PS party at the same time as like the VSC was ending. So I couldn't see my delta, and it was like so timed perfectly that I couldn't see it. And then I got a penalty for that, and then our race was a bit like done after that.
Yeah, unfortunately, even in the Tier 1 race last week, there was a couple of VSC glitches, so unfortunately that may just be an issue where it's just difficult to see in some instances, but nonetheless, Gunnar, I know it's again not been the ideal race, but hopefully next week you come to Baku, and it's not the ideal track to be going to for your redemption race, but as long as you keep it out of the walls and away from other drivers, I think you'll score well. So as long as you avoid the carnage, hopefully you can get a good result.
Yeah, hopefully practice a lot as well, so yeah.
But anyway, thank you all for the interviews from all of Tier 2. That's been it from us here in Tier 2 Round 8 Japan. And Lime has got his third win of the season as he starts to slowly march his way back up into the championship fight. But thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow. Also make sure to follow Jimmy Rose on your way over, as we're rating Rose Combs, who's doing BBS League in Singapore. But anyway, thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for Tier 1 as they head to Belgium, where you'll be joined by Rio Harris. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.